Here it is, a guide pin trimmer or guide pin height checker. And it's nice to have one of these for setting your guide pin for the track conditions. If you're running on model motoring track or Tyco track, you're probably a pretty small number, like a 120 pin stick out. If you're running on, say, one of these routed tracks like my TKO or a Bowman track or anything like that, you're probably about a 150. And you can go up to like 165, 170 on Tomei track. So it doesn't hurt to have your guide pin as long as you can without dragging the bottom of the track, of course. And I keep forgetting to put price values on this, but this is like about a $20 tool from Scale Engineering. Some lesser used tools. This guy here, this is a little peener tool to peen the idler post in your top plate. Don't use it very often, but if your idler gets too loose, then it's going to start to rattle around and wear even faster, and it wears the gears out. So it's good to get that post not tight, but not so it doesn't have a lot of flex to it. And I've modified this. This is a special screw. The screw that comes with it has a point. This screw has a little flat on it, and I got to make this for me. But either way, you need something eventually as your gears wear down, or even as you're initially setting it up, so that idler gear is not super tight. This is the RTHO gear remover tool. This is a pretty expensive tool. That guy, idler post peener, that's about a $50, $60 tool from RTHO. This guy's about $80, $75, $80, and not used all that often. This is just for pulling cars apart. If you want to take your arm off, take that 14-tooth gear off top of the arm, you'd use this area. If you want to knock the gear out, or the shaft out of the 24-tooth gear in the back, you'd swing it back this way and push that out. And then there's another hole here for adjusting a shaft or anything like that in a gear or whatever. This is not used all that much, but it's super handy for pulling a car apart without ruining the gears. If you don't have this tool, then you're going to be getting in there with a knife or a pliers or a pair of dikes or something like that to try to get that gear out, and especially that one on the armature. And you're going to booger it up pretty good. So, and most of the time you wouldn't be able to reuse it. And this is a little shim thing that goes along with this tool. It's separately purchased for like $2 from RTHO. It's nice to have some drill blanks for setting things up. Here's a pair. I've got a whole bunch of drill blanks, but this is a pair of 0.65 diameter drill blanks. You can get drill blanks from Master Car, pretty cheap. I've got a huge assortment of them, all different diameters and different quantities. I got a whole bunch of these for setting cars up and putting them on the tech block, because they're wider than the tech block, so you can set up your car with, they're wider than tech block, so you can put this to your car and see if it's flat. We'll talk about that in future episodes, of course. Another nice thing to have, pin vise for drilling holes, obviously, or put a reamer in that if you have a reamer to ream out holes. Super handy to have. A little file. This is a nice little diamond edge file, and I use this I just use this on motor brushes to put a little groove or X in the motor brush. It's kind of handy to do that. It does quick work. For the same purpose, you can use a dull knife blade if you wanted to, but I found this to work really well. Super quick and easy. It's nice to have a caliper to measure diameters of things, thickness of things. It's nice to have. So if you can get one of these, this was like a cheap hobby store find. I think I got up at Checkered Flag a long time ago for like $25 or $30. Works nice. Measures within plus or minus a thou. Gets a pretty good ballpark number on things. This here, you may recognize this if you've ever worked on a car or a lawnmower. This is a gap gauge for checking your spark plugs, but I also use this for checking how far a wheel is from the chassis, so I make sure I got my wheels centered in the case of cars that don't have the wheels pushed up all the way against the chassis. It's just handy to have. $2 or $1 at the auto parts store. This here is a shoe sander block. This is a piece of, I guess that's ceramic. You can use a piece of glass, something super flat. This is honing paper that you can get, and I cut a piece and glue and stick it right on here. That's mainly for sanding pickup shoes and getting them nice and flat. And here is a little bitty knife sharpener. This is just a kind of a little whetstone. I generally, this is a diamond side. I hardly ever use this side. I used to use this for shoes, but now this block works way better, so I rarely use this side at all for anything. This is a nice, super fine whetstone surface, and I'll use this when I'm breaking in a brand new motor brush. Usually they have a little burr on them or some crud, and just back and forth a few times and sands that thing nice and shiny. And this is some double sticky foam tape, and I use a little chunk of this when using the sanding block. Put this on the back of the pickup shoe, just a little piece, and I'll show you that in a future video, of course, but you need, this is like a lifetime supply of this stuff. I use a little bitty piece on a shoe, and it lasts for quite a few shoes if you're careful with it. So that's essentially the main tools. Oh, I think I forgot to show this one. This is a tire gauge. It's nice to know what size your tires are. This is a BSRT brand. There's plenty of these out there. Different guys. Wizard makes one. There's quite a few that you can get. It shows tire size all the way up to, I think it maxes out at 478 on this one. Can't hardly see that, but and it goes down as low as about 296, which is smaller than we'd ever use on anything. And there's a little gap missing in the middle, but it's usually that's not important. Where it's missing the hole sizes, it's missing from between 420 and 384. For some reason, those were not important enough to put on here. So if you got tire sizes in that range, you're gonna have to guess or get a different gauge.